Hello, everyone. This is Merj. Welcome to our podcast, Let's Talk It's Time America. Conversations about the most pressing issues affecting members of our communities here in America and places around the world. Our topics include immigration, education, healthcare, national security, foreign policy, and many other topics that members of our community find interesting and relevant post 9/11. This podcast is part of the Complicated Conversations Post 9/11 Project, a global community engagement initiative that strives to engage people and bring communities together one complicated conversation at a time. So join me. This is Merj. Let's talk. It's time, America. I'm so excited to introduce to you our special guest, Mr. Clifford Dobson. Mr. Dobson, hello. Thank you so much for joining me tonight.
Thank you.
And would you like to say hello to our viewers? We are live. And
Hello.
So we originally were going to do the podcast episode 9 with Mr. Lee Guilfoyle, but he had to leave the state.
Yep.
But he knew he's very supportive of this project. I met him. He's an amazing individual, and of course he's made so much contribution in the world of skydiving, well, in and out of skydiving. He continued to do that. So Mr. Guilfoyle, thank you so much for everything, and then we wish you wherever you are right now, we say hello to you and thank you so much. So Mr. Dobson, would you like to say hello? You have a lot of followers, and of course people that you've touched and you've inspired throughout your career. So say hello. We have viewers globally.
Hello to everybody. We're here. We'll see what happens now.
Yay! So I'd like to say hello to our viewers globally. First, we have friends in the UK, in Paris, in The Hague, Amsterdam, Munich, and Slovenia, in Istanbul, Turkey, and also in Canada. And all of you out there, thank you so much for your continued support and following the Complicated Conversation Post 9/11 Project Beyond the Shadow of September. And of course, our viewers and our friends here in the US that are now following the Let's Talk It's Time America live podcast every Tuesday. So thank you so much. And of course, we want to say hello to and thank Mr. Carl Borowitz. He's here tonight and he's helping us here. He's always very supportive of the Complicated Conversation Post 9/11 Project. So, Mr. Carl Borowitz, thank you always. So, tonight's podcast, we'd like to, can you tell us a little bit about how you get started skydiving?
Well, I was a week out of high school. I was taking my girlfriend for a ride in one of my dad's airplanes, and we heard an airplane fly over the top and watched 3 jumpers get out. And one of the guys got on the ground and packed up and wanted to know if I wanted to go up and watch. So we went up and watched. It was okay. It wasn't that exciting to me. But we got on the ground, he was packing, and my father walked over to me and asked me what I thought of it, and I said, well, it was all right. He said, you think you can do that? And I said, if he can do it, I can do it. And so he kind of nudged me a little bit and said, he's going to train you next Saturday.
Wow.
I was there at 6:30 the next morning on Saturday the next week, and made my first jump at sunset that day.
And what did you think?
I was hooked the second I stepped off the step. I had a parachute hesitation, so I had about a 6-second delay before I looked over my shoulder to see why it wasn't open, and it opened up, and I realized I really enjoyed it.
Wow.
So that was 56 years ago, June 10th.
Wow. Well, that is such an incredible career in this very exhilarating sport.
Yes.
As skydiving.
Yes.
And skydiving has evolved in many ways tremendously. And so just like me, an older person now learning skydiving, it's very, very exciting. And there's a lot of education in it. And that's what I was going to ask you, because sometimes not everybody from our community understand that in skydiving there's a lot of education. There's math, technology, engineering, science that is involved. So there is some still have there's still a little bit of stigma when it comes to people in the skydiving who we are. It's very diverse.
Sure. And it started out at the beginning, our equipment came from the military. And it was the equipment that we eventually modified, and my instructor only had 52 jumps out of the military, which seems a little strange nowadays, but that was the way it was done. The equipment has evolved tremendously. We went from round parachutes from the military to manufacturers making better equipment to the paracommander and then to square parachutes. In the last 10 years, we've had a tremendous amount of growth, change. A lot of it has gone to computer and wind tunnel testing and all that kind of stuff. So it's changed a lot.
Yeah, and also there's different discipline in skydiving.
A lot. When I first started, it was just accuracy pretty much, and then style, which you turn formations or left and right turns, back loops in free fall, and then RW started, and then CRW started later. And then we've gotten into all kinds of stuff, head down, sit flying, wingsuits, and now they're doing wingsuits and canopies mixed together and flying through formation. So it's a lot of changes.
And then we have the base jumping, wingsuit base jumping, and
Yep.
and all kinds of stuff. And what we see in the background right here is a historic record, world record that you are part of.
Yep. It was number 80. That's the 100 way. That's the biggest formation ever made.
Yes, and this is 2007. 2007.
Yep.
And the preparation, how long did it take for you guys? Because I understand it involved different countries, participants from different countries.
Well, it started out that the Americans would set a record, the French or Europeans would break the record, and then it'd go back and forth. And finally, one year, I think it was for the 50 way or 55 way, there's a combination of European and Americans in Europe and Germany did that formation. And since that time, it's like the 100 way is 16 different countries. A lot of people from all over the world, Russians, Germans, French, Australians, it's just a lot of different countries. And that's what it has to be to do this kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a lot of collaboration.
A lot of collaboration. We found that we thought we knew a lot about it and then found out that, wait a minute, they had some tricks that they had figured out. So when you start putting those things together, then you start making big things like this.
Yes, and it's probably really hard to do because you do practice in separately, right?
Yes. Yeah, usually they have camps, and they will have camps several different places here in the States to try out for it, to see if you can even go to try for the 100 way, or whichever jump you're going. But they also do it in Europe, several different places in Europe. And then those people are invited that they want to come here, which we had at Lake Wales, to come for about a 2-week period of time where we practice and finally picked out the people that went on the 100 way.
Wow, that is so cool that they have to audition for this.
Yeah, it's not just walk in and say, I want to do it. It's a lot more dangerous than that. And it's not so dangerous when you have people like we had on this. They're very knowledgeable. They've been practicing. They've been making jumps together. And it went together very well.
That's really amazing. And I think eventually they're going to try to beat that record.
We keep talking about it. We'd like to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a lot of money and a lot of time. Usually between the world record attempts, it took 2-year period of time to organize, run the camps and everything before they come together. So about every 2 years, 2005 was the 81 way, and then we went to the 85 and the 100 way. So it's 2 years in between.
2 years in between.
Yeah.
So it's just like, to me, it's like the Olympics. I mean, you bring these different people together. It's so diverse. I mean, with different skills and, but the one thing is passion for skydiving, for flying. And
everybody wants to do the same thing. They want to succeed and be safe about it. And that's the most important part, is being safe. And, making another record is a big deal also.
Yeah. But of course, putting this together, it's like, you bring people together from different culture and with different beliefs and ideas and ideology. And it's not always people are the same, But when you do something like this, I mean, it's so incredible that you build a camaraderie, you build that long friendship. Now pretty much probably all these people that's on the 100 way, and it's so amazing that today you get to go and see them once in a while, right?
Right, and they come here to see us too. But at the same time, you realize that these are all people from everything from doctors and lawyers to school teachers to mechanics and anything that you can think of. But when we get on the drop zone to do this, we're all the same. We're on the same level. We're here to do the record, or to have fun and to open up new avenues.
Yeah, and also everybody's looking out for everybody's safety.
Yes.
And I think it's sometimes I think of it as like those people who go in the battlefield. You depend on the person next to you. We're back. We were a little bit disconnected the first time, but we're gonna continue. This is Merj from Let's Talk Eat Some America podcast, live here on Facebook, episode 9, and we're doing Let's Talk Eat Some America and the continuation of our conversation about the Beyond the Shadow of September. Today we are going to, in the second part, we're going to talk about the making of the Twin Tower demo. But right here with me is Mr. Clifford Dobson. He's one of the most accomplished person in the skydiving world, and of course one of the most fascinating figures in skydiving. So it's an honor to have him with me as my guest for episode 9. So we're going to continue that conversation. We want to say hello to everybody that's tuning in. Mark is part of the Twin Tower demo. Yeah, so, all right, so we were talking about world record, the 100-way diamond formation, that it was, from different countries and how it was put together, and it's not easy. It takes a lot of time of course, practice and, organization, yeah. So part of that's like what I said, it's just like the Olympics. I mean, you bring people together from different places, from different culture, with different beliefs and ideas and ideology. And I think that's pretty amazing because in the beginning, when I was first started in this sport, and I am a scholar, and people sometimes ask me what the connection of education, my scholarship, to skydiving. And because sometimes people think that we're a bunch of misfits that are adrenaline junkies that are going out there and jumping out of airplane for no reason. I think it's a lot more. It does a lot. For me, I use it for good cause. I jump for the veterans. So we have jump for the vets.
Yep.
And I think it's pretty amazing. It's a good way to bring people together and to also to help our communities. And I think it's pretty cool. I found a family, a community that's that help others, and plus really exciting to go up there and.
Yeah, if you're at the drop zone with other jumpers, you're just another jumper. You can be anybody in the world, but at the drop zone, you're a jumper, and you're part of the family.
Yes.
That's the nice part about it.
Yes. So since we were on the we got disconnected, I was talking to you about your experience, about how your career. This is like a long commitment in the sport, and it's so admirable what you've done. You have taught a lot of skydivers, and you've inspired a lot of people in the sport. And you used to have a drop zone.
Yeah, I owned Skydive Tampa for 39 years. We did a lot of training, accelerated free fall, tandem, static line back in the old days before we changed. I went through the process of being one of the first drop zones to do paracommanders for students, and then second drop zone in the United States to do square parachutes for main parachutes, and probably the first to do all square reserves also. So it upset a lot of people, and a lot of people thought that was going to hurt people. Now everybody does it. So we were out there at the beginning, and we could see that that's where technology was going. It was better, safer than the stuff that we had started out with. And that was 56 years ago that I started. So
Wow, and after that, there's so many things. The technology has evolved that help the skydiving. And how we our equipment and everything. But it's fascinating. Our set. I don't know if you can see. People can see us. Our set is full of your. You have the cover of parachutist right there. It's like a whole wall, and then of course your awards and the medals behind us. We can see that on not on the screen.
Some of them, yeah.
Some of it, but what is you have so many medals. You did a lot of competition in your career.
Yeah.
Which one is the most thing that you that's so unique? That's the most, probably all of them, but for you something that is so memorable that people can learn lesson. The new generation of skydivers.
Well, there's really, it'd be hard for me to pick any one thing because there's so much from the first jump on to, doing RW back when it first started and competing. I've competed in accuracy and style and placed in the nationals and all the events at the time. And I moved down to Florida in 1978, and Mike Lewis and I got together. We were doing a 10-way speed team. And one day he docked on me, and that was the first time I was docked on, and I about killed him on the ground. What are you doing? Him and another guy had been doing it for about 2 months before, and so after that, every Saturday and Sunday morning before everybody got there, we practiced. And because of that, we've had teams. I've been on 10 national teams. We've been overall national champions 9 out of the 10 times. We've been to the world meet 10 times, and we were overall in 8 of 10 in competition. So it's just something that's, the whole thing as a package deal is important to me. The biggest thing for me was to train people to make sure that they're going to be safe, not get hurt, not get killed, enjoy what they're doing, and do it safely and properly.
Well, you've done almost all the discipline, like from before, and but you focus on the crew, the CRW.
Yeah, because it's fun, and it just turned out that we were very good at it.
I know
Mike Lewis and a couple of guys that one of the guys is not with us anymore was one of the team members. My son eventually became one of the team members. He's been to several of the world meets with me, which is really cool because my son was competing with me, and he's very good. So he's kind of retired right now, but, and I'm still going. But that's all part of it. Trying to get people to be safe is the biggest thing.
Right. And you mentioned Mike Lewis, and Mike Lewis is part of. He organized the Twin Tower demo that we did. So it was fascinating to watch him how he bring people together and give that instruction to what to do up there. And I think it's pretty cool that everybody was like doing their part and very committed and to CRW, and it's very fun to watch. And we're going to watch the video of the making of the Twin Tower demo. But I want to continue to explore because your record in the sport, I mean, your experience is so important. Because we're evolving very quickly. This in today with the technology moving very fast, and of course being used for good with the new skydivers. But when I was in Skydive Chicago, I met a young crew, and he's from Canada, and he's very young, but he loved CRW, and I think. He's probably part of, he's going to become part of the young generation of people that's going to continue the discipline that you like.
Right.
So I think it's exciting to know. And right now I know that hello Annie the Coker, is also part of the 100-way diamond formation, and of course took part in the making of the Twin Tower demo. And she's giving some classes right now, some workshop. Is that how does that work?
Well, we call it pups. Those are at the beginning because they call us CRW dogs or crew dogs, And when you bring somebody new in, they're called pups for a while until they learn to be, we say they got to a certain level, now they can be crew dogs.
How many jumps, how many crew jumps before you can say you will graduate somebody and now they become crew dogs?
Well, it varies like everything in life. It varies. Some people pick it up very quickly and other people take a lot longer. But, it's at the point where we feel safe with you jumping with somebody else or with us, that we don't have to worry about what you're doing, that you're doing the things that we want you to do. The important things about doing team jumps is that you don't have to think about or worry about your teammate. You know what they're going to do because we've trained together. We believe in the same thing the same way, and that's what you have to do with the pups. You got to bring them into that category.
And what some of the boogies that you guys have, and you bring all these crew jumpers from everywhere, and it's very exciting.
Yes, very, and fun, and it's nice to watch. We did a demo for Colonel Kittinger for his 50th anniversary several years ago, and they had free fallers doing a 5-0 in free fall, and we did 3 shows on Saturday and 3 on Sunday with 25 jumpers in a diamond formation, and changed the formations around, and Captain Kittinger thought that was amazing. And then when I saw him at the Hall of Fame back in November, that's all I could talk about was how neat the parachutes were. So it's a lot different than what he was expecting.
It's really fascinating to watch. That's probably something that I'm not going to be able to do, but to be able to, to know people like you that's been doing this is, I think, is very cool. And I'm hoping that, we continue to entice the young generation of flyers to explore the CRW, because it's really fun. I mean, just like look at all these people that came together. It's really truly fascinating, and that's something that you don't see that every day.
No, and it's very visual for the people on the ground. Where a lot of the free fall portion, it's very cool unless they're wearing smoke or something. You can't see them until after the parachutes are open. Mm-hmm. So the crew part is important because more people see it.
Yes.
And I ran the Budweiser team for 15 years, and we did most of our demos. We did canopy relative work, and we did it from lower altitude, say 5,000 feet. So people in the crowd could see it, and most of our stuff was in the stadiums. So they wouldn't be able to see the free fall part of it anyway, so it was a waste. But the canopies they could see.
Yes. And I know that. Why? Because during the making of the Twin Tower demo, we will show it on the video where people from the ground were like looking at in the sky,
Yes.
like probably from 5,000 feet, and they're so amazed,
Yeah.
and I love seeing that in the video. We're going to show that pretty soon, like here in our show. But again, the school. I mean, you said that you taught a lot of people in the sport.
Yeah.
And how are they versus the new ones right now? I mean, what do you think of the differences now? Because now we have like the tunnel. The tunnel is also an important resource and part of learning. So I think it's for me, I think learning from both. How you taught and now how they learn. If
Sure.
we combine it, I think it's pretty cool.
That's right. It is. The wind tunnel can be a very good learning tool. Somebody that's had a little bit of trouble, we'll send them in there. They can work with an instructor. You don't have to worry about getting out of an airplane and being 14,000 feet in the air and opening your parachute and all that. You learn how to do the free fall part, and then you can go do the rest of it. So that does help out a lot.
Yes. And I'm also using that, like what I said, I told you that I do Jump for the Vets, but I'm also doing it for the kids,
Sure.
Jump for Stars. So the same way that I'm trying to bring communities together, I'm trying to bring these kids together who's from different races and culture, and I want them to learn, to collaborate, to learn about each other. And so I did it in iFly Tampa, and I just did it recently in Munich, at the fly station in Munich, and the kids were really excited, and even the adults,
The kids have no fear. You get adults in there and they've never been in the wind tunnel and they're kind of skittish and stiff. Kids get in there within a couple of minutes, they see what people are doing, they pick it right up and fly it, and you go, whoa. And the things they can do now compared to what we did when we started. I had a wind tunnel at my drop zone back in the 80s, outdoor. We did a lot of training with it. It was back before anybody had anything like that. We had probably 2 other wind tunnels that were indoors at the time. And the things that you can learn to do are amazing. And the kids walk in there, after watching somebody, just get in and do it. So, it's a good learning technology, and now we're getting wind tunnels everywhere. Mm-hmm. It almost seems like every city's got their own wind tunnel now. So
yeah, and they have competitions too, like yeah.
So the stuff they do is just amazing.
And they use it also for competition.
Yes.
Like I've seen those 4-way teams that are really doing amazing. Like simulating everything that they're doing. And they're doing it in the tunnel, and it's fascinating to watch.
Yeah, and they just had a world championship, and some of the stuff that they're doing, you just can't imagine that you can do that. It looks like, it's mind over everything. You can't understand how do they make their bodies move and in sequence at the speeds they do. And it's a little different than being in a flat formation for skydiving. This is 3-dimensional. They're going all different directions and doing all kinds of things. So it's just another aspect of the sport advancement. Mm-hmm. And we haven't seen it all yet. There's more coming, I'm sure.
I'm sure. Yeah. And one of the our friends from the CCP9 project, Kelly Chambliss, the daughter, Carly Chambliss, she's so amazing. I watch her at a Sky Venture at Skydive Arizona. I mean, it's really unbelievable what they can do. What this
I don't know how they do it. I've been jumping a long time and I can't do it. Of course, I'm older and stiffer and all that, but some of these kids now can just do amazing things.
So we have so much for the sport, and everybody, whether if they can go up there outside the plane, well, they can go and experience flying in the tunnel, which is, I think, is fascinating.
Yes, it's a good way to learn. Somebody's not sure if they want to do it. The wind tunnel's the thing to go, and it feels the same way. You stand at the door, the instructor says, jump in, just like jumping out of the airplane, you jump in. It feels the same, but you don't have to worry about pulling the parachute and all that other stuff.
Yeah, the wind is the same. The noise is there, so it's
the feeling's the same. Most people don't understand when you jump out of an airplane, there's no falling sensation because of the motion of the air, the aircraft moving 80, 90 mile an hour. When you step out, gravity actually speeds you up, so you always have pressure against your body. Your body feels like it's floating. Same thing with the wind tunnel.
Same thing with the wind tunnel. So it's really fun to talk about this sport because not everybody, of course, is going to skydive. Some of them, they want to do it, but it's really up to the person. You have to bring yourself to the drop zone.
Right.
It's at the end of the day, it's going to be you to actually do it.
You have to make that decision.
Yes.
Nobody's going to force you to do it. If you get to the door and you don't want to go, don't go. So some people, that's not their thing. It can't be for everybody.
It can't be for everybody.
Yeah.
So again, I can see from our set from behind are those covers of Parachutist magazine. I think those are so fascinating. That how many times that you've been in the cover and the story of you and the Parachutist?
Well, 6 times for the cover. One of them I shot the picture of the all the medals and stuff we won in Thailand in 1990, and then there's 4 different articles that I've been in, basically about me or my team. So I've been pretty lucky.
I think you've worked so hard, and really your contribution to the sport is really enormous. And I think a lot of people can learn from you. And I know that you don't have your drop zone anymore, but you are around. Yeah. I mean, if somebody asks you for help or for any kind of advice, you're here. You're available.
I still train people. I still bring. I've done a lot of people who are coming back into the sport or been out of the sport for a while. A lot of people come to me and want me to refresh them and recertify them, and I do that. I will watch people pack, and there's somebody having trouble packing, and their rig's all tangled up, and when they get frustrated, I go over and show them how to undo it quickly. So I'm there to help. The same thing, it gets back to the old days. People got hurt and killed because of the equipment we had, or we didn't know enough about the equipment. It's not that way today. The equipment is very, very reliable today.
Yes.
If somebody gets hurt, it's because they did something wrong. Like driving a car.
Like driving a car.
You don't stop at the stoplight, you go through it, you're going to get hit.
Yeah. So in the business of skydiving, you know a lot of the drop zone, different drop zone here in the United States and probably also in other countries. And I think they've also grown a lot of drop zones. When you were at DZO, you probably not very compare now. There's a lot more drop zone.
Well, here in Florida, when I started, there was 5 or 6 drop zones. We've had as high as 27 over the period of time, and it goes away. You get people look and think, oh, wow, these guys are making all this money and doing all this business and stuff, and they want to get involved, and then they get in and find out it's not as easy as it looks. And it's hard to make money in it. You gotta want to be there. There are companies, big drop zones, that are making money, but they have to watch everything they're doing. The cost of gasoline and maintenance and aircraft now is completely out of reach almost for most of us. But you have to really want to be in the business.
Right.
It's not as easy as it looks.
Yeah, it's just like you can have an airplane and then have instructors and then you market it. It's not that easy.
No, somebody's got to pay for that stuff. Got to make sure it stays in repair. And you have somebody like Carl that was my maintenance man and took care of our aircraft. Make sure we've always had 39 years. We had a very good safety record, and it's because of everybody in the business, our pilots, our mechanics, our maintenance people, and the jumpers have to take care of the aircraft. So.
Yeah, it's really a commitment. It's just like any other business. When you open a business, it's something that you really are committed to, that you know about, and I think that's how you're going to succeed in the business, and that's how you've been successful, and you probably taught a lot of people in this skydiving, not only in the sport but also in the business of skydiving.
Lots.
Yeah, so if what is your message to our young generation of flyers?
Well, I think one thing that we knew coming into the business when I started 56 years ago was we had to learn our equipment more, know more about our equipment. And unfortunately, nowadays people are getting to a certain level, they get into free fall, they buy their own equipment, but they don't know anything about the equipment. They don't know how to hook up their 3 rings. They don't know how to properly rigger check, gear check. A lot of us older jumpers, you'll see us when people are walking the airplane. You'll see us kind of watching. We're watching everybody to see things. We don't walk up and go over your body and check, everything's fastened or it's hooked up right. We see that from a distance. I had a guy on the airplane the other day reach over after we'd taken off, got to 1,000, and tell me he thought I'd bumped my power chute and might be sticking out a little bit far. So I reached back and checked it. It was okay, but that's what we need. We need people to be looking and helping other people. He didn't know me, I don't know him, but I was very appreciative of the fact that he was observant. That means that some of them are doing it. We just don't do it enough. And most people, like I said, don't know enough about their equipment to be safe. They have to rely on somebody else.
Yeah, so that is a very important point and advice from you. Sometimes, we're so excited to go up, to go on a load, and, we're rushing. And so I think that's a great lesson.
Well, the other thing is, too, that we have so many things that people can do nowadays. I usually tell the story that we went to the drop zone one morning, my wife and family, and it was raining. And we get to the drop zone, there's about 6 cars sitting there waiting for us, and we went in and it rained all day long. We did gear rigging, instruction, watched some movies, and about 4 o'clock the sun comes out and we made jumps till dark. But nowadays, if it started raining at 10 o'clock in the morning, nobody shows up. There's so many other things that they can do,
Like learn or maybe,
Well, they could be learning at the drop zone. Usually they go, okay, I'm going to go downtown, going to go to the movies, going to go there, go to the beach. It's too windy or something, People don't stick around enough like they used to.
Yeah, that's true.
And they're losing out on a little bit of the camaraderie that we used to have more.
Yeah, because we have a different one. Some people are into, the freestyle and they can do it solo.
Sure.
So, but still, like they can still learn and
Still got to know the basics.
the basics.
Yeah, you still got to know how to get out of the aircraft. You have to know how to get stable, whether it's flat stable or it's on your back or head down or sitting or whatever your discipline is, or the wingsuit. You have to know the basics for all that, but you also have to know the basics for getting out of the airplane and the safety and how the equipment works. And that's important.
That's very important.
Yeah. Most people are too big a hurry to do things, and they pass up a lot of the safe parts.
Yeah, that's very cool. So thank you so much for these very important pointers. I'm just learning how to skydive, and so it's really, really cool that I get to learn from you, listen to you, and pick up all these important pointers.
Yeah.
So,
Always available.
Yes. So, do you have, since you have such an enormous record of the skydiving in your experience, and they're so amazing. Do you have? I know this is like a museum. I mean, it's like truly, when I look at it. Do you have like a website that maybe people can look and?
Not anymore. Just Facebook.
Okay, so they want to connect with you, and there's still a lot of people out there that I know going to learn from you, from your experience, you as a DZO and you as a jumper, and also a world record, and of course all the things, all the jumps that you've done, and many places around the world. If they want to reach out to you, they can find you on Facebook.
Clifford B. Dobson on Facebook.
That's very.
If you go to Cliff Dobson, that's my son.
Right, and we want to say I saw him, like he's Richard. What's his name?
Cliff.
Cliff. Oh, Cliff.
I have a younger brother named Richard that jumps also.
Oh, okay. It's probably I see them sometimes on Facebook. Yeah. So again, we are live here on Facebook at the Complicated Conversation Post 9/11 Project. This is episode 9 of Let's Talk It's Time America, and we're going to take a break in just a few minutes, but we are going to show a video of the movie Beyond the Shadow of September. And this is a documentary that's filmed in 9 countries, and the introduction to the movie is the Twin Tower demo. And the reason, the importance on that is the perspective that even though the towers are gone, in the hearts and minds of people, the towers are always going to be there. And so bringing the towers to life from 13,500 feet in June last year with you're part of it, Mr. Dobson, and it was truly amazing. And it's one of the, I think, very emotional part of the movie is to see how not just the stacks, but the making of the Twin Towers is really incredible. Yeah. And I started to reach out to Mr. Bruce Barnett back in March. And so March, April, May, and June. So it took 4 months. And it's, you guys, it was very quick. The people responded. And I think a number of the jumpers were part of the 100-way diamond formation, and it's going to be on the video, and it's really cool to watch, and that's one of the things that I'm so proud of. And doing this movie, a documentary, a scholarly film that that explores the implication of 9/11 from multiple perspectives. So I traveled so many places in America, and also in different countries in the world. And everybody that I talk to, they have something to say about 9/11 and how it's shaping our world and how it changed our lives. And so many people have changed, like myself. But I want to ask you how 9/11 impacted your life.
Well, it opened up, hopefully, everybody's eyes that there are other things out there that are not necessarily on our side. I would say evil. I just happened to have met a few of the guys that were on those airplanes flying them when they flew into my drop zone one day, and got to talk with them. Seemed like normal individuals, and then you turn around and find out that they had other things in mind. They were learning to fly to do this, and it's kind of tragic when you figure there's over 3,000 people that died, but there could have been 50,000 because that's how many people usually are in and out of the Twin Towers every day. And so it's changed the way we look at people. I think we've lost some trust in other people. And it's opened up, I think, a little bit of mistrust for other people and other cultures. And that's too bad because I have friends on both sides, and it's kind of hard to look at somebody and think, okay, are you thinking about doing something bad here, or are you on our side here too?
Yes.
So
this is one of the goals of the Complicated Conversation Post 9/11 project is to bring, it's like provide a space for conversation, and and also ultimately hoping that we can bring our communities together because we can learn from each other.
right.
And so I think conversations, no matter how different we are, and we are not always going to agree, but when we bring people together and we listen to each other and we get to understand where we're coming from. And so I think the world that we live in is sometimes chaotic and it's complicated. But I think the commitment for people from different parts of the world, especially now that we have opportunities with the advancement of technology, that we can connect and engage each other, and maybe there's a chance for understanding and friendship
Yeah.
even in the post 9/11 era.